Welcome to my kitchen here at Winter's house. I love it when you guys come by. I've got some fun stuff that I want to show you that I do every year, no matter what. And you know, as we're kind of winding down our cutting flower beds, I linger a little bit longer every day, knowing that pretty soon it's going to look bleak in there, and I'll wait patiently until next spring. But I have a plan. I have a plan to dry some of my flowers so I can enjoy this autumn a little bit longer. And if you care for them well, you can even pull them out again next year and use them again. So my plan today is I'm going to make a Hydrangea Wreath extravaganza. And I went out very early this morning. We're here in the Midwest. Look at that beautiful bloom. Look at those. Those are so pretty. And cut these before the rain came. Let's get started on our beautiful Hydrangea Wreath. 26 gauge wire. You could truly use anything that you have. This is what I had. I really need floral wire, but it's what I had. So you just use what you have, nothing fancy, and scissors will cut it because it's just so flimsy. So you want to go ahead and strip the leaves off your hydrangea, and I'll show you just how easy it is. For some reason the leaves never dry as pretty as the flower. You just strip them right off, and I have a box down here to drop them into. And I'm always get mushy when I cut these in the fall. It brings back such special memories because we use these for our daughter's wedding and some of her floral. She had her reception here at Winter's house, so it was really special, and I always see those and remember what a beautiful bride she made. There's my first one. Now, see its little tail? I'll go ahead and trim that off. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. Now you can kind of see how I'm kind of making a cluster, and it's kind of organically doing it to itself. So this is really forgiving, so forgiving. Okay, so I'm kind of coming in here and weaving again, and you just have to be patient, weaving them in there. Okay, and sometimes you gotta back it out. And I'm gonna come right in behind that one. So you're kind of staggering, and truly, there's no right or wrong. Done, and it was probably one of the easiest projects that I've done here at the Crown Bee, and just so enjoyable. I think these would be beautiful gifts to give away. I think those are my favorite gifts to give when they come from someone's heart, and especially when they spent the entire season growing them. Isn't she beautiful? Now you want to take her, you want to put her down in the basement and forget about her, but just for a little while. And about 3 to 4 weeks later, go back down, and she is going to be absolutely spectacular. These little delicate blooms are going to turn to a beautiful papery antique color, just so lovely. And I'm going to hang her right there. So she's going to spend this winter with me in the kitchen. And I think I'm going to have to make one of these for my daughter too. It reminds me of her wedding day. What a special day that was, and such a beautiful bride. There it is, guys, your very own Hydrangea Wreath, ready for the autumn. Enjoy. Ooh, up in the potager in the evening, just like I love. Can you hear the crickets? I love this time of the evening. I'm actually up here to harvest these handsome fellas. Look at those bright red chili peppers. Yummy, yum, yum. We still have plenty of blossoms. I'm going to show you a way to preserve these without getting out your canner, your pressure canner, your water bath canner. And it's actually kind of fun. I think you'll enjoy the process. Okay, I just picked these beautiful peppers from the Potager, and I want to show you a very simple way that you can preserve these without getting out that pressure canner or your water bath canner. Even though those are great and you can still use those for sure, this is a way to actually dry your chili peppers, and you can hang them inside a cabinet and then go ahead and clip off the ones that you want. Or what I'm going to do is, once they're totally dry, I'll strip them off this string and put them in a big mason jar. And simply all you do is use thread that you would hem a pair of pants with and a needle as well. And I doubled it to give it a little extra strength. And then you just pick your little chili pepper and you just run it right through the stem of it. You can see how easy that is. And just bring it on, and you just keep going and going. I actually really love to do this. Sometimes at night when Greenland and I are watching a movie, I'll string these. So these are about, at the end, you can see they're kind of crackly looking, and they even sound crackly. These are about a month old on the end, the middle probably a couple weeks, and then you can see on the very, very end, I'm just adding those. So you can see it doesn't take really a lot of time to dry those. And I think they're actually really pretty. You can hang these on the side of your stove. So, so pretty. There they are. A perfect way to preserve your chili peppers. I've got a great way to show you guys how to preserve your tomatoes that does not involve a canner, it does not involve the freezer, and it does not involve a dehydrator. This is one of my favorite methods, I think, because of the way that they taste. And they've been preserving foods like this from the beginning of time. And the trick of it is you're submerging your vegetable down underneath oil so the oxygen can't get in. The oxygen is what gets in and spoils foods. So as long as it's covered in oil, it should last you, say you did this jar, it should last you until spring. Now, if you're a family like us, this jar won't last very long. So this is the first of many jars that'll be tucked into our fridge. And it's a grand treat come January, February, when it's snowy here in the Midwest, and you just need a smile, and you open that fridge and those bright red tomatoes are there. And they're great on pastas and pizzas and soups, and I make an amazing tomato tart that I'll share with you guys soon in a coming episode. So what I did is I took these cherry tomatoes and pear tomatoes and I roasted them off in a screaming hot oven. And why I did that was I want to try to get the most of the water up out of them. Now you can see they are still pretty soft, but I also drizzled a tiny bit of olive oil on them so they would caramelize a little bit. I didn't add salt. And then you want a good olive oil. I just went out and picked this beautiful last bit of basil. I've dried quite a bit, but this was my last fresh. So I hope it keeps growing before the snow flies. And then I peeled, let's see, probably about 7 cloves of garlic that are gonna go in. And I'm simply going to take off a basil leaf, that these are washed. And I'm going to, so you can see, I'm just gonna lay a couple down in there. And I want to kind of crush it a little bit so it kind of releases its goodness. And then I'm going to put a couple cloves of garlic, like that. Now the garlic is a great way to do this method, not roasting. I put it in raw. And I simply just start layering these amazingly beautiful, this is a beautiful pear tomato. It's another one, look how pretty. And you can still see they do have a little bit of liquid in them still, but that's okay. That's what you want. You don't want them hard and crunchy. That would be totally dehydrating them. And so I'm just layering these in. Now about midway, I put a few more garlic cloves in, and I put another leaf. And again, this is just the way that I do it. I kind of mush it up so it kind of releases that. Stick it down in there. And then I start layering more tomatoes. And as you can see, it's so easy. It's so easy. I wish you could smell these tomatoes. They smell so good. And this makes such a wonderful, wonderful meal. Now you want to kind of press those down. And I'm going to add another clove. And I'm going to add some more. Now I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil before I top it off, just to kind of get it going down in there. And I'm going to add the last piece of garlic and a little more basil. And this time I'm going to tear it in half. Stick that down in there. I want to take a knife, and I'm going to want to just kind of get all the pockets, like if you were canning, you're going to want to get all the air pockets out, because I'm really wanting to fit as much as I can in this jar. What will happen too is the olive oil will plump up these tomatoes. So I'm not going to fill it all the way up, probably to the neck of the jar, because they'll almost kind of reconstitute themselves in the oil. And make sure all the air pockets are out. And then I'm going to add a little more olive oil. I'd also recommend too getting a nice olive oil for this. Once the tomatoes are all eaten, I still use the olive oil for cooking. And it's infused with the garlic and tomatoes, and it's wonderful in itself. So the key here is I want everything down underneath the oil. That's what keeps the oxygen out of the food. And then once everything's submerged, you're just gonna add your lid. And this is just a canning jar lid, but you can use anything that'll fit your jar. And I put it on pretty tight. Again, you're gonna try to discourage any air to get in there. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. I think in the winter when the snow's flying and you're cold and you're wanting to make something just for comfort, a beautiful soup, pizza, some pasta. Oh, that's gonna cheer anybody up. That's like a smile in a jar. There you go, guys. Preserving your tomatoes in oil. Enjoy. Okay, as promised, I'm going to show you how to make the sweetest little bouquet that makes such lovely little gifts to your loved ones. And I think there's so many things that you can do. These would also be so pretty dried and tied into some sort of bow on top of the package. I think these are lovely. You could put this by your bedside table. And the lavender and the butterfly bush will make it smell so good for a very long time. So basically what you're doing, you're gonna go in your garden and pick your favorite things that are in bloom. And you're gonna make a teeny tiny little bouquet. Fine, I have my little bucket of all sorts of scrap ribbon. So I'm gonna pick a pretty piece, and I think this salvaged piece of blue fabric that's kind of frayed at the end, I think I'm gonna cut a piece of that. Let's see. It won't take much. But what I like to do with tying the ribbon is I'm gonna tie mine in a little bow, I think. These are so pretty. I know I would love to receive something like this that comes from your heart. Those are the best kind of gifts. And then now I'm gonna just trim these ends, and I'm gonna trim it because we want to keep our little bouquet little. And trim it there so it's all even. And look at that. Isn't that beautiful? But I would say probably in 4 weeks these would be ready to give. So you're gonna hang them in a dark place where they're not getting a lot of sun, but it's dry and warm, and those are dry beautifully. There it is, guys, another way to use your beautiful autumn blooms.